I want to cover a topic that no one has addressed before. Magic is probably better than Hearthstone. I've played Hearthstone since 2017, giving me well over 7 years of experience with this game, so I'm surprised that Magic the Gathering is objectively a better card game than Hearthstone. I can't still believe I'm saying this out loud. By the end of this video, you'll know the advantages of each game, and based on these criteria, you can choose which game you want to try out. I highly recommend that if you play at least one of these games, you should definitely try out the other one. You might be surprised by how enjoyable the other card game is. So in Magic the Gathering, the total number of MTG cards depends on what Magic the Gathering cards count you want to use. There are around 27,000 unique cards, but many more if you start to include reprints, variants, and out-of-game cards like art cards and tokens. So let's just go with around 27,000 unique cards. And let's compare it to Hearthstone. And in Hearthstone there are different expansions. Standard, that means you can use cards from the last 2 years. Here we have around 1,180 cards. And if we look in wild cards, this means all the cards that are in the game that were ever released, and every single card is here. Just guess how much do you think? And here's the answer. There are, in total, if it loads, or I need to refresh it, probably. So this will wait. Okay, wild cards. There are 5,220 cards in wild. So, roughly, so it's easier to count, there are 5 times more cards in Magic the Gathering than there are in Hearthstone. And based on that, in Magic the Gathering, if you look, there are 5 different types of cards in Magic. We have white, blue, black, red, green. And that's basically like Hearthstone classes, where white is the closest to Paladin, blue is the closest to Mage, black is closest to Warlock, red is closest to... we don't really have something like red. Red is basically aggressive cards or aggressive decks, so aggressive decks, and green is basically Druid. So just based on the numbers, if you look, there are 27,000, so let's say 25,000, so it's easier to count. 25 divided by 5 is 25, if divided by 5 is 5. That means that there are around roughly 5,000 white, 5,000 blue, 5,000 black, 5,000 red, 5,000 green. So, just by playing black card color, there are 5,000 of them, and in Hearthstone there are also 5,000. So if I would play just the black, like mono black, I would have the same amount of cards that I can have in Hearthstone. And in Hearthstone, there are 11 classes, and you cannot play every single card that you want. You can play only, for example, for Warlock, there are only 385 cards that you can play, and a lot of them are terrible. So maybe like 100 of them are in theory useful. And you can play also neutral cards, so let's say 100 useful, or 300 plus neutral cards. It will load. So let's refresh. And there are around 1,500, so that's around, I don't know, between, let's say 1,004 plus 1,700 cards that you could use in your Warlock decks. And that's, if I compare it, let's say, just to black. There are a lot, and not only, this is something a lot of Hearthstone players don't understand, or I didn't know that myself, so, and I play Hearthstone for 7 years. You can make combination of all these colors. Just imagine playing, let's say, Death Knight cards with Druid and with Paladin. That's what you can do in Magic. So let's move to the next point, which basically is, yes, you can play more cards in Magic, a lot more cards in Magic than you can play in Hearthstone. The second point, why I believe Magic is better, is that Magic is an actual card game in real life. And here, if you look, you can see this is you can play this in physical form. Hearthstone doesn't have such a thing. So that's a huge advantage, because in the end, card games started in a physical form, and then we made them in an online form, which, yes, Magic the Gathering Arena is in online form, and Hearthstone is also online form, but Magic, on the top of that, you can play it in with an actual friend. So that's another thing. The third thing why I think Magic is better, but this is really subjective, is that Magic is more complex. And now that means that Hearthstone is easier, like more simpler. And based on that, if you play card games for 5 years, 6 years, for basically for more than 5 years, then you will find Magic a more interesting card game objectively, because there are so many combinations that what you can play. But if you play card games, let's say you are completely new to card games, or you are, let's say you play card games for less than 5 years, I would highly recommend you to play Hearthstone. It's easier. There are around, let's just look on a card from Hearthstone. For example, this is a very classic card. 10 mana 6s, Battle Cry. Battle Cry means that when you play this from your hand, deal damage equal to this minion's attack randomly split among all enemies. And this card is one of the longest cards that you can find in the game. Like, this is so much text. If I look for, this is like Charge, Divine Shield. Charge means that it can immediately attack the enemy hero. Divine Shield is like a bubble that the first time it takes damage, it ignores it. But if we just look, another here. You have cards for 0 mana 1/1, no text, 2 mana 3/2, Death Rattle, that means that when it dies it does something, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. Or 2 mana 1/1, Battle Cry, Discover, that means you pick out of 3 cards, a 3-cost card. And these are like traditional Hearthstone cards, and their text, like the longest text, is basically 3 lines. And let's look on what a card looks like in Magic, like a classic card. Let's just compare it. Here, let's just look on a classic card. Nicola Bolas Godfather. You have million icons, some numbers. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines of text. Planeswalker Bolas. You have some numbers. Really complicated. Let's look on. I know that there are Magic card popular double side, and this, again, I am not a professional in Magic, I'm a beginner, but from one side of the card you have this, and from the other side you have this. So not only that you have billions of text on one side, you have billions of text on the other side. And that's why a lot of people, and even I, if you would ask me 7 years ago if I would play Magic the Gathering or Hearthstone, I would in 100% of cases choose Hearthstone over Magic as someone who's new to Hearthstone. And one thing I want to make very clear, double side, that's how they call it. And just one thing that I want to make clear. Because Hearthstone is easier doesn't mean that experienced players in Hearthstone enjoy it, or won't enjoy it, basically. I play Hearthstone for 7 years, and I'm not like the person who would play this card game for so many years. It is a lot of years, and I still enjoy it, and I will still continue making videos about it. And if you look on my channel, you can see I have Warlock and Black Magic cards, and to wield Dark Magic, one must sacrifice everything. And even though I started playing Magic recently, that doesn't mean that I will leave Hearthstone. No, I will still make videos about Hearthstone, about Warlock, and newly I will add to the mix, some gameplay of Magic as a beginner, and make videos like these talking about these two card games and the differences between them, because I can see a lot of you enjoy it. To wield Dark Magic, one must sacrifice everything. Hey there, I'm LolTroll. I've been dedicated Hearthstone player since 2017, and I'm proud to say I'm completely free to play. Yes, that's true. For the past, in every single video game that I've ever played, I never spent a single dollar. And the same thing will be for Magic. I won't spend money in there, so I know how it actually feels to be a free-to-play player. The same thing in Hearthstone. And I can say, in Hearthstone, I made a lot of videos, and I can say, in Hearthstone, as a free-to-play player, you will probably be able to play only 1 or 2 classes. And in Magic, I don't have enough experience, so I can't say, but I can bet my Dark Soul that it will be similar, that I cannot play every single deck as a free-to-play player that the game offers. My channel is all about Warlock. If it's Warlock related, I'm covering it. While I may occasionally dive into other content, my heart and deck always belong to Warlock. Also, I've started playing Magic, so you might see some mono black Magic gameplay from time to time. So if you would like to see more videos where I talk about Hearthstone and Magic and, you know, compare these card games, let me know in the comments, because I'm trying to experiment if this is a format that I could do, comparing mainly the Warlock class and Black Magic cards. So if you are interested, please leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching and stay tuned, my friends.